On a stormy night, a commercial airliner flies through the dark sky over the Pacific Ocean. Among the passengers is Matthew Carter, an ordinary man, devoted to his family and his work. He never imagined that this routine trip would change his life forever. When the plane experiences a sudden and catastrophic mechanical failure, Matthew finds himself on the brink of death. For 11 minutes and 46 seconds, he was clinically dead. But what he experienced during that time was more vivid than any other experience. Jesus revealed to him disturbing visions about the future, especially about March 2025, and Matthew feels an urgent need to share these revelations with the world. Matthew Carter was a man of simple habits. Every day he woke up early, made breakfast for his family, and headed to work. His routine was predictable, but comfortable. He worked in an office, juggling spreadsheets and meetings, and always found time for a coffee break with colleagues. His life was balanced between work and family, and he considered himself a lucky man. Matthew had always been a curious individual, interested in understanding the world around him. He enjoyed reading books on history and science, and often engaged in deep discussions with friends about the mysteries of the universe. His faith was an important part of his life, but he never imagined that one day he would have such a life-changing experience that it would completely change his perspective on existence. Matthew was on his way to a business conference in Tokyo. The flight was proceeding normally until suddenly, severe turbulence shook the plane. The passengers were instructed to put on their oxygen masks, and panic began to spread. The plane began to lose altitude rapidly, and the pilot struggled to maintain control. Amidst the chaos, Matthew felt an unexpected calm come over him. He closed his eyes, and when he opened them again, he was floating above the plane, watching the scene of the disaster from above. The plane was plummeting toward the ocean, and wreckage was scattered across the dark water. Matthew could see every detail with startling clarity. He watched the desperate efforts of the passengers and crew to escape, but he knew that his fate was not in their hands. He was in a place between life and death, and a greater power was guiding him. Matthew felt a force pulling him back. As he turned, he saw a tunnel of golden light, pulsing and alive. He knew that this was not of this world. As he approached, everything around him disappeared, and he was drawn deeper into the tunnel. At the end, a familiar figure awaited him: Jesus. Jesus' presence was overwhelming, exuding love, truth, and power. He touched Matthew, and instantly, the scene changed. The tunnel of light was unlike anything Matthew had ever experienced. He felt no fear or anxiety, only a deep curiosity and a sense of belonging. The light pulsed around him, as if it were alive, and he could feel its energy permeating every fiber of his being. It was a transcendent experience that defied common description. Jesus showed Matthew a modern city where people used advanced technology for payments and identification. What seemed convenient and harmless was, in fact, the prelude to a great deception. Jesus warned that this technology would be embraced willingly, but it would have devastating consequences. In March 2025, world leaders would announce a new system of security and prosperity, marked by an implanted device. Those who resisted would be ostracized from society, unable to buy, sell, or access essential services. The city Jesus showed Matthew was an example of how technology can be used to control and manipulate people. The buildings were tall and imposing, with giant screens displaying propaganda for the new system. People walked the streets with blank expressions, completely absorbed in their devices. There was no genuine human interaction, only a superficial connection mediated by machines. Matthew saw families being torn apart, people losing jobs and homes, all because they refused to adhere to the new system. Social pressure and propaganda would cause many to give in, even those who initially resisted. Jesus revealed that the true purpose of the device was spiritual, blocking people's connection to God. Those who accepted the mark would lose the ability to truly pray and worship. The deception was subtle and insidious. It crept into people's lives so gradually that many didn't even realize what was happening. Technology promised to make life easier, more convenient and efficient. But behind these promises was a dark plan to control and manipulate humanity. Those who resisted were marginalized, ridiculed, and eventually ostracized from society. However, a small group of believers would resist to the end. They would meet in secret, praying fervently and keeping their faith alive. Even without access to modern technology, they would experience miracles and divine protection. Jesus encouraged Matthew to warn the world about the times ahead and the importance of strengthening their faith and relationship with God. Endurance was not just a matter of physical survival, but also spiritual survival. Those who held firm in their faith found strength and comfort in their connection with God. They knew that no matter the external circumstances, their faith was an anchor that kept them steady and secure. They supported one another, sharing resources and knowledge, and creating a community of support and love. Matthew woke up on a deserted beach, aware of the mission he had been given. He knew that time was short and that March 2025 would bring drastic changes. His message was clear: prepare yourselves spiritually, strengthen your families in faith, and remain steadfast in the hope that, no matter the circumstances, God will never abandon you. After his experience, Matthew began to reflect deeply on life and faith. He realized that we often underestimate the power of prayer and the importance of maintaining a constant connection with God. He began to dedicate more time to reading the Bible and sharing his experiences with others, encouraging them to seek a deeper relationship with the divine. Matthew also began to question his own beliefs and values. He realized that we often accept things as they are without questioning them or seeking deeper understanding. His experience led him on a journey of self-discovery and spiritual growth, where he learned to trust his intuition more and follow the path his heart dictated to him. Matthew's story quickly spread throughout the community. Many were skeptical, but others were deeply touched by his words. Prayer groups began to form, and people began to gather more frequently to discuss the revelations and seek spiritual guidance. The local church saw a significant increase in attendance, and a sense of spiritual urgency swept through the town. Community leaders also began to heed Matthew's words. They realized that his message of preparedness and faith was relevant not only to individuals, but to the community as a whole. They began to promote initiatives to strengthen community bonds and support those in vulnerable situations. Matthew and his family began to prepare for the difficult times ahead. They stocked up on supplies, learned survival skills, and strengthened their community ties. Matthew also began writing a blog, detailing his experiences and offering advice on how to prepare spiritually and physically for the challenges ahead. The preparations were not only physical, but also emotional and spiritual. Matthew and his family took time to pray together, study the Bible, and reflect on the values they held dear. They knew that in order to face the challenges ahead, they would need a solid foundation of faith and love. One of the most important lessons Matthew learned was the importance of unity. He realized that in order to face the challenges ahead, people would need to come together and support one another. He began organizing community meetings where people could share their concerns, pray together, and plan strategies to face adversity. Unity was not just about survival, but also about growth and empowerment. When people come together around a common purpose, they can achieve so much more than they could alone. Matthew saw this happen in his community, where people began to collaborate and support each other in ways they never imagined. Matthew also reflected on the role of technology in modern society. He realized that while technology can bring many benefits, it can also be used as a tool of control and manipulation. He began to advocate for a more conscious and ethical use of technology, encouraging people to question and understand the implications of their technological choices. Technology, when used responsibly, can be a powerful tool for good. It can connect people, facilitate access to information, and improve quality of life. However, When used irresponsibly, it can lead to isolation, dependence, and loss of freedom. Matthew believed it was crucial to find a balance and use technology in a way that benefits humanity, without compromising its values and freedoms. Matthew's journey is far from over. He continues to share his message, inspiring others to prepare themselves and strengthen their faith. He knows the road ahead will be challenging, but he also believes that with faith and determination, it is possible to overcome any obstacle. His story serves as a powerful reminder of the importance of living with purpose and maintaining a deep connection with the divine. Matthew also began exploring new ways to share his message. He created a YouTube channel where he posted videos about his experiences and reflections. He also began writing a book, detailing his journey and offering guidance for those who wanted to strengthen their faith and prepare for the times ahead. Throughout his journey, Matthew faced many challenges. He was ridiculed and criticized by those who did not believe in his story. There were times when he doubted himself and his mission. However, he always found strength in his faith and the community that supported him. He learned that overcoming challenges did not depend solely on his own strength, but also on divine grace and the support of those around him. Matthew's experience taught him many valuable lessons about life, faith, and humanity. He learned that true strength comes from within, and that faith is an anchor that keeps us steady through life's storms. He also learned the importance of compassion, empathy, and unconditional love. These lessons have shaped him into a wiser, kinder, and more connected person with the world around him. Matthew believes that no matter what challenges the future holds, there is always room for hope. He sees hope as a guiding light in times of darkness, a force that propels us forward even when all seems lost. He encourages people to keep hope alive in their hearts and to never give up on their dreams and aspirations. Matthew Carter's story is a powerful testament to human resilience and the power of faith. It reminds us that even in the face of the most difficult adversity, we can find strength and purpose in our connection to the divine and our bonds of community. Matthew's journey continues, and he is determined to share his message of hope and preparedness with as many people as possible. Matthew realized that his message needed to reach a wider audience. He began traveling to different cities and states, sharing his story at churches, schools, and community events. He also appeared on radio and television programs, where he was able to speak about his experiences and offer advice on how to prepare for the times ahead. During his travels, Matthew met people from different backgrounds and faiths, and found that the message of faith and preparedness resonated with many. He heard stories of resilience, and saw how faith could transform lives and communities. These experiences inspired him to continue his mission with even greater determination and passion. Matthew's message began to spread globally. People from different countries began to contact him, sharing their own stories and seeking guidance. Matthew realized that preparedness and faith were universal themes that transcended borders and cultures. He began to collaborate with community and religious leaders from different parts of the world, working together to strengthen faith and resilience in communities. Matthew also began to engage with global issues such as environmental sustainability and social justice. He realized that preparing for the times ahead was not just a spiritual issue, but also involved the responsibility to care for the planet and promote equality and justice. He began to advocate for sustainable practices and support initiatives that aim to improve the quality of life for people around the world. Throughout his journey, Matthew also embarked on a process of self-discovery. He began exploring different spiritual practices and philosophies, seeking a deeper understanding of himself and the world around him. He attended spiritual retreats, practiced meditation, and studied sacred texts from different religious traditions. These experiences helped him broaden his perspective and connect with spirituality in a more holistic way. Matthew realized that the power of community was essential to facing the challenges ahead. He began to promote the creation of mutual support networks where people could share resources, knowledge, and skills. He believed that by strengthening community bonds, people could become more resilient and able to face adversity together. Matthew also began to get involved in educational initiatives, promoting the importance of lifelong learning and personal development. He believed that education was a powerful tool to empower people and prepare them for the challenges of the future. He began offering workshops and lectures on topics such as leadership, resilience, and spiritual development, inspiring people to pursue personal growth and become agents of change in their communities. Matthew's journey is far from over. He continues to share his message of hope and preparedness, inspiring people around the world to strengthen their faith and prepare for the times ahead. He knows the road ahead will be challenging, but he also believes that with faith, determination, and the support of his community, it is possible to overcome any obstacle. Matthew Carter's story is a powerful testament to human resilience and the power of faith. It reminds us that even in the face of the most difficult adversity, we can find strength and purpose in our connection to the divine and our bonds of community. Matthew's journey continues, and he is determined to share his message of hope and preparedness with as many people as possible. If this story touched you in any way, be sure to share and like the video, and subscribe to the channel. Maybe someone you know needs to hear this message. And remember, every choice we make has consequences that go far beyond what we can see.